guys, what's up? Thanks so much for stopping by. In today's video, I thought I would take you on a tour through my cream bronzer collection. If you've been here for a while, then you know I have a love affair with cream chic products. I just love them, whether it's highlighters, blushes, or bronzers. But today we will be focusing on bronzers. I've seen a lot of these ranking my makeup, like whatever category video floating around. I'm not quite sure who the original creator is of this tag or video concept. The first person that I saw post it was Julia Adams. I'll be sure to link her channel down below. I love watching her and just having her videos on in the background. Her voice is just so soothing to me. So if you've never seen one of these, basically I will go through my cream bronzers. I will have a list over here on the side, basically like a tier list. Everyone kind of does different categories, but they're somewhat similar. So for me, the top one is going to be Holy Grails. These are products where if I lost them, I would go out that same day and repurchase them. Under that, I will have rotations. These are products that are constantly in rotation. They're not quite at that Holy Grail level, but they're still really, really good. And then right underneath that, we have bench warmers. For me, these are products that are good, but they're not amazing. They're not constantly in rotation. Next up, we have dust collectors, which is kind of like a bench warmer, but a tier below, because these are products that at one point I absolutely loved, but new products came and I just don't use them quite as much anymore, but they're still like good and worth checking out. Under that is just meh. These are products that they're not terrible, but they're just not that great either. And then finally we have don't bother. These are products where, you guessed it, don't bother. Do not waste your shekels on them. They are just not worth your time or your money. Go ahead and start off with my longest loved cream bronzers. These are the Huda Beauty Tantours. I have the shade light and medium. Fair was very, very light. If you are close to my skin tone, you would be just fine with the shade light. Once you get it warmed up, I mean, it blends out beautifully. Even if you have it more of an oily skin type, I find since this isn't overly creamy, it still lasts on the skin very well. Whether you have dry, normal, or oily skin, it kind of just sets down to a natural skin-like matte finish. It doesn't stay wet and tacky on the face. You have a good amount of time to blend it out, but once it sets, it truly does just last on your face all day long. I've noticed even in the hot and humid climate that we have here in Houston, Texas, I can wear this in the summer and have no issues. For all those reasons, this is easily a Holy Grail product. Ew, that is a hair stuck in my bronzer. Next up, we have the Kaja Play Bentos. I love the packaging of these. Initially, I thought all three products in here were cream. I really wish that that was the case. Unfortunately, it's just the bronzer that's a cream product. I've kept all three because number 2 is my perfect cream bronzer shade, but then I like the blushes and highlighters in the other 2 bento boxes more. I do use 3 here and there only for like the tiniest drop, just because these aren't quite as pigmented as the Huda Beauty ones. They still have great pigmentation, but it's a thinner formula. It's very wet and creamy. If you're more on the oily side, I would say pass on these unless you really like the blush and the highlighters in here. To be honest, the highlighters aren't the greatest. They're a little bit more chunky. I know we're not reviewing highlighters right now, but the blushes and the bronzers are definitely the stronger points in these products. While I personally love them, for the sake of everyone else, I would say they are more like bench warmers. They're good, but they're not anything incredible. You can definitely find something else out there, but if you're just someone that likes to have more compact 3-in-1, 2-in-1 products like these, I think you would really like them. But I don't really think that they're great for people with oily skin if you are looking for a cream bronzer, just because they have that thinner, more slick, and slightly wetter consistency in comparison to the Huda Beauty. Let's go ahead and get this other Kaja product out of the way. This I personally love. I know this is gonna be a product that most people either love or hate just because it is different. This is a cushion bronzer. It does come with this cute little like star stamp. It's called the Beachy stamp bronzer. So you're supposed to just dip this spongy stamp, it's very stiff, into the product and then onto your cheeks. I used this once and I have not touched it since. Honestly, I wish it was just a smaller compact with just a cushion, just because this is so gimmicky to me. I don't like it. I just go in with the Persona brush, dip it in, and then apply it onto my face. I was just raving about this over on stories. Formula of this reminds me a lot of many of my other favorite cushion foundations that kind of give this like pillowy gel-like smoothing effect on the skin. It is another very wet sort of bronzer. I've heard some people mention that this is shimmery. I have never noticed any bit of like glitter on my face from using this product. What I will say is that it's a very glassy sort of product. After a few minutes, it does set down slightly, but it never gets like fully dry. There's always a bit of a tackiness to it, not so much so where your hair will stick to it, but it just keeps your face looking like it has this nice like glassy glow to it, which I personally love products like that. For that reason, it's in rotation for me. In fact, this was in my recent monthly favorites. This is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. I have mine in the shade Bronzed Belle. I have been saving this just for some sort of products I regret buying or disappointing products video. I've given this a chance multiple times. It's not a texture thing or color thing. I just think it's an application issue. Every time that I apply it, I just feel like it's never fully even. It feels wet on the brush, but then as you go in and tap it out, it just kind of blends in a patchy way. I know some people love this. It's nice to actually have some sort of cream bronzer option at the drugstore just because I know there's only so many, but I just was not impressed by this whatsoever. It's in the Meg category. It doesn't wear that long on my skin, and I'm not someone with oily skin. I'm more on the normal to dry side. And I'm not a fan. But what's weird is I love the e.l.f. cream bronzer that comes in this e.l.f. electric mood quad. I think this one is also gonna be discontinued soon. I've actually seen it in Marshall's recently, and it is on sale on the e.l.f. website. This one is a little bit thicker. It almost has more of like a whipped texture in comparison to this one. When I go in and rub my finger, you can kind of see like how the product is like fluffy and puffs up a bit while still being very creamy. This one just has way more pigmentation. It's way more creamy. There's no skipping with it. It's just way better than the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. I don't get why they didn't make the Putty Bronzers in this same formula, because I feel like they would have sold way more of these. I mean, I know that's a personal opinion because I've seen plenty of people rave about this bronzer, but I was not impressed. This for me is definitely in rotations. This is one that I reach for quite often. Next up, let's move on to a dust collector. Just to refresh your memory, this is a product that I used to love, but I just don't really reach for it anymore. I don't really miss it that much. That is the Physicians Formula Organic Wear Sculpting Bronzer. I have mine in the shade Toffee. This only comes in 2 shades. I think Physicians Formula definitely missed the mark there. I know that they've always had a smaller shade range, but then they expanded their butter bronzer collection somewhat, so I don't know why they didn't try expanding this more too. Especially with how many people love cream bronzers these days, I think they'd make great money expanding the line. So as I mentioned, there's nothing wrong with this formula. It was a favorite of mine for like an entire year. I was using it constantly, but as more and more brands started releasing cream bronzers, it just slowly kind of started getting pushed to the back. If one of the 2 shades works for you and you're on a budget, I think you would still really enjoy it. It's a good product. It's just one that I don't really reach for too often anymore. Let's do a don't bother product. I know I'm going to offend people with this one. This is another 50-50 product. People either love this or they're like, this sucks. I don't really feel like there's anyone down the middle that's like, yeah, it's just so-so to me. I honestly thought this was going to be a product that I would adore. I just haven't had the best luck with Tower 28. I still really want to try their skin tint. I like that there's SPF. The consistency of it looks really nice, but their Bronzino in West Coast just was not for me. I don't think there has ever been any other product that I have put so much effort into trying to get to work for my skin. I just never like the way that it looks. I've even tried it on like completely bare skin where I'll just go in and do like my brows and my mascara, and I'm like, okay, I just want some sort of glow, so I'll just apply this. I just don't like the texture of this. It always feels too sticky on my skin. No matter what foundation or skin tint I'm wearing underneath, I just never like the finished look of this. It either picks up too much of the product underneath, or even on days that I can get it blended like on bare skin, I just don't like the look of it. I find that there's way too much shimmer in it to where it just like emphasizes my pores and somehow makes me look dirty. I've tried it so many times. I put it on my lids for like a wet eyelid look, and like that's fine. I think that's really the only reason that I've kept it, and for the sole purpose of featuring it in a video where I just say it's not worth it to me. So for me, it's a don't bother. I know other people love this product. I'm sure the blushes are great, but the bronzer, I don't know. I just couldn't get it to work for me. I know that's holy grail. I think it's like a bestseller on Sephora, but I hate it. I've tried so many cream bronzers and I don't have a single good thing to say. Well, no, I guess I do have a good thing to say. The packaging is very cute, but on my face, I personally don't care for it. So for me, it's on the don't bother tier. Another holy grail product, and this is from Danessa Myricks. I am such a huge fan of her line. These are the, I believe they're called power bronzers. She has released another bronzing product. I think it's like the bronzing balms. I've heard that lots of people don't like those quite as much, and honestly, I love these so much where I'm like, I'm just fine using the power bronzers. So I do have the shade medium. As you can see, it is a very orangey shade. The shade light was just way too light for me. If you are someone that sucks at cream bronzers, you find that no matter what brush you're using, what sponge you're using, it always looks like messy and muddy or just like patchy or just not blended, you have to try the power bronzers. Something about this formula, it's foolproof. I don't care how heavy-handed you are, you will be able to melt this into your skin. It gives like a true tanned look to my face. This is from Nudestix. This is their Nudies All Over Face Color and Bondi Base. So you have a cream bronzer on one side and then this brush on the other, which honestly, I personally find the brush to be useless just because the bristles are so freaking short. If you were to go in and blend with this sort of brush, I feel like if you're wearing foundation underneath, just because of the density, it would just smear everything around. So I don't bother with the brush. The actual stick, it's not bad. This was definitely an overrated product in my opinion. I was so excited to get my hands on it, and then once I did, I was like, really? I don't get the hype. So I would put this in meh. It's not bad, but it's not anything that great either. I've had both of these in my collection for a while, and I've definitely gotten way more use out of the Physicians Formula one. These are the ones from Persona Cosmetics. They are just their bronze multi-sticks. I have both shades, Dune and Sahara. I was not a fan of her highlighter stick at all. Something about that was like crispy and chunky. It was not a good product. I hate to say that because I love Persona Cosmetics, but her actual bronzing stick is beautiful. These are so freaking slick and creamy. The only downside is I don't think that these would be the longest wearing on anyone with oily skin, just because they do have a very luxe hydrating feel to them. I want to say there was some, was it safflower? Is that even how you say it? Oil. Let me look on Ulta really quick. The key ingredients are white tea extract. That's supposed to be a good antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties, skin soothing, green tea extract. Let me scroll down. Yeah, safflower seed oil, camellia leaf extract. So it's just a way slicker sort of bronzer. It's beautiful. It blends out amazing. I would say that they're definitely geared more towards normal to dry skin. While I do really like them, they're not in rotation quite as heavily as some of the other products. So I would say bench warmer. It's good, but it's not like amazing. Or it is good. Yeah, no, that's fair. It's not like incredible. It doesn't blow my socks off, but overall, I do really like it. I just don't think it'll be for everyone's skin type. Okay, moving on, I do have one other stick. This is from the brand I'm Mimi. This is a K-Beauty brand. It's just their multi-stick shading in the shade 001 bronzer. Like many other K-Beauty products, there's not much of a shade range at all. In fact, this might be the only color. I actually do prefer this one over the Persona Cosmetics one, more for color preference than anything. Currently, it is in rotations. I've been using it a lot, but I don't really reach for this product quite as much during the summer months. I should not have done a ranking system because I feel like this is getting too hard. I'm like, no, but I love you and I don't want to hurt your feelings. The next three products aren't actually cream bronzers. They are concealers, but they work incredible as cream bronzers. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my least favorite out of the three, but I wanted to recommend this one because if you have oily skin, you have a hard time finding a cream bronzer that lasts on your face a long time, give this a shot. This is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. This used to be my holy grail concealer. This line has an expansive shade range, so obviously you could go in and pick the perfect shade for you. It's super pigmented, so you only need the tiniest bit. You really only need like doink, 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 doink on each side, and that'll be plenty of bronzer for your face. And you could take whatever residual product that is left on your brush and just buff that onto, like, you know, your dove chin if you have one. If you don't, lucky you, your forehead, down your neck, and have plenty of coverage, and it'll stay on your face all day long. At one point, this used to be holy grail for me, but it's definitely more of a dust collector now, just because I don't really go for super full coverage these days. Next up, we have the Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer Pen. I use mine in the shade Cafe au Lait. I love the actual component of this. It's so small and precise, so it's really easy to go in under your cheekbones, down the sides of your nose if you're someone that contours your nose a lot. Right now, this is currently living in bench warmers. It is really good. I do feel like this would last better for an oily skin person as well, compared to like, you know, the Bondi Bay or the Physicians Formula one, just because while it is creamy, it sets down, and once it sets, it really does a great job of lasting on the face. I personally did not like this on my under eyes for a concealer, so I just wanted to find some other way to still utilize the product. And for a cream contour, it worked great. But the concealer that I've been absolutely loving, this is in heavy rotations right now. This is the Nudestix Nudefix Cream Concealer. This is such a lightweight concealer. When it comes to just being like an actual concealer, it's not bad, but it's just nothing that special either. Typically with concealers, you expect them to have like a high concentration of pigmentation, have a ton of coverage. It's more, not even medium, like a sheer to light coverage concealer. But for that exact reason, it makes the perfect cream bronzer. I love this. It has such like a sheer base. It's almost more like a tint than an actual concealer, because as you blend it out, you're still left with this like warm color, but you can still see completely through it, where you can still see your freckles, so your skin still looks like skin. So it ends up looking more like an actual tan than having like pigmentation and makeup on my face. All right, so there you have it, all of my cream bronzers. I feel like I sucked at ranking just because some of these, you know, it's like things change. It's like I'll love them, they'll be in rotation, but then it's like next year they'll be a dust collector. These are just like my current rankings of these products. Let me know if you guys would like to see more of these. Let me know some of your holy grail cream bronzers down below. I would love to hear all about them. Bronzing is like one of my favorite steps in makeup. As always, thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. If you haven't already, I would love if you subscribed. And that's it. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.